Live only on The Zone. Usyk versus Dubois, July 19th. He silenced Britain's best. Usyk, the undisputed king, fighting to keep his crown. But now, the dynamite is ready to explode. Dubois is set to make boxing history. The hopes of a nation on his shoulders. July 19th, here Wembley roar for the heavyweight fight of the year. All the belts are on the line. Usyk versus Dubois 2. Buy now at thezone.com.
This is Colin McGuigan for IFLTV. You've done that wee weird thing with your eyebrows, Eduardinho.
Better than doing something weird with a sleeveless top on.
It's decent, isn't it?
You in a hotel?
Yeah, I am. I'm in the MGM Grand for what a huge fight week this is.
I'm plopping on its arse, to be fair. But
do you think so? Why?
You
don't think it's done numbers?
Only one fight week in America this week, and that's one of the fights of the year. Bam against Cafu. Diego Pacheco against McCumbee. Over 10,000 in the Dallas Cowboys star at Frisco Resort. So,
let's start with that, actually. So, massive fight for you guys in Dallas. Over 10,000 for Bam?
That's
sensational for flyweight.
To be honest, right? When with Bam, he's from San Antonio, right? We've done a few fights with him early on in his career. I'll say early on in his career, it was for a world championship, but it's like 3,500 arena, which he sold out, no problem. Then we took him to Phoenix, which is a great fight city, to fight Sonny Edwards. Then he fought Guy Estrada, which was a massive crowd. I think you might have been there. Don't know if you were gallivanting. And now it's a decision of, look, this is the biggest fight of his career, really, in terms of the magnitude of the unification. Where do we go? Dallas Cowboys reached out to us, and there's such a brilliant commercial facility to be involved with for events. But it's not San Antonio. So it's in the same state, but it's not his home city. And we have smashed the tickets out of the park. And I'm just so happy that Bam is getting the plaudits and the respect that he deserves as a great pound-for-pound fighter. And we've done a great job. He's been incredible. Robert Garcia's, done the whole team come together. And I think this is the toughest fight out there for him against Cafu. Cafu is smart. He's awkward. He can really punch. Obviously, he's a world champion. But, if we come through, we know we've got the Puma Martinez fight in November. But this is the one to focus on. It's a brilliant fight.
We'll talk about the Puma fight in a second. You've also got Diego Pacheco against Trevor McCumbee on that, which is really an unbelievable fight. It's probably going under the radar a bit. What are you expecting from Diego on Saturday night?
For me, Diego is kind of like the future of the 168-pound division. He's still a young man, undefeated. Again, his guidance has been first class. He's delivered. And now we just keep stepping up. And that's it was Sulecki. It was Steve Nelson. Now it's McCumbee. We're kind of going through that top 15, top 10. And this is kind of like the fight before you get to, this is a top 10. I'd love the Berlanga fight. But I mean, now that fight, is a difficult one to make now. But, still, if Edgar comes back with a win or two, we'd love to make the Berlanga fight. But Hamza Shiraz against Pacheco, great fight. Hamza's going to be looking at Canelo. But in the meantime, he's going to need great opposition. And Billy, Saras, see what happens with Munguia. There's no rush with Diego Pacheco. He's going to be around for a long time. But, for me, he is, the future of the 168-pound division. And a great test here on Saturday against McCumbee. We
talked about Puma Martinez there briefly. Is it disrespectful to Cafu, the way that kind of came about?
No, it's just boxing. His Excellency said to me, we want to make the Bam fight. Who can he fight? I said, well, probably, obviously we've got this fight, but there's also Puma Martinez. So they made that fight. I said, could we announce after July 19th? No, we are announcing and we're doing a press conference. So Bam and Robert Garcia said no to the press conference, which was, definitely the right thing to do. And then from there, it's just taking care of business on Saturday. Probably ruffled a few Cafu feathers. He's been quite vocal about it. It's not Bam's fault. In boxing, you've got to really take care of the future, and that's the team's job to do. I don't think Bam's really lost much sleep about it. He's just thinking, well, if I don't beat Cafu, it's irrelevant anyway.
If Cafu was to win, would that then take precedent that he would take that fight, or is there a rematch clause in there?
No, there's no rematch clause. So, probably, I mean, I think if Cafu was to win, we'd either try and make the rematch or His Excellency might offer him the fight with Puma Martinez. But, His Excellency's focus is on Bam because he's a pound-for-pound star. But, anything can happen in boxing, as we saw in New York last week.
Just on that rematch situation, I've heard elsewhere that Ismail Salas is saying something or along the lines of the Matias Pacquiao fight had a rematch clause. So really, Dalton Smith versus Matias shouldn't have been made. What happens there in that case?
I mean, firstly, Dalton was in Mexico yesterday with Maurizio Suleiman, who confirmed that Matias has to fight Dalton Smith next because he was the mandatory that was waiting. Whether they petition the WBC for the winner of that fight to fight Puello, I don't mind. His Excellency announced the fight for November 22nd. We're just finalising all the details. And yeah, I mean, it'll be Matias against Dalton Smith next. Brilliant fight. I mean, Dalton Smith against Puello was a great fight, but Matias is a very exciting fight. That style-wise, that's a tremendous matchup. And on that card on November 22nd, you've got two Brits there in Dalton and Sam Noakes that if they win those fights against Abdullah Mason and Subriel Matias, the Brits are flying high. Two massive wins. And obviously we believe Dalton beats Subriel Matias. And looking forward to seeing that fight November 22nd.
Have you had time to digest Katie Taylor's victory from the weekend?
Yeah, just so. I mean, you obviously managed to smuggle your way into the changing room after and the scenes, and I just did a piece with a proper media outlet in Ireland, and they said, how has she changed since you first met her? And I said, hasn't changed one bit. And you know what's one of the most pleasing things? The team, the corner, the same faces at ringside, the same faces in the changing room after. It hasn't changed from the professional debut in 2017. And to see her win so convincingly was so pleasing. And, again, on that interview I just did, it was a sports minister who was saying, we must give her the fight at Croke Park now. I'm thinking, well, this energy would have been nice a year or two ago, but we'll have to see if she fights again. I said to you, I think it's the first time I've ever heard her say, I don't know if I fight again. But she's fresh as a daisy because it was such an easy fight. So it's all down to Katie. I would support her whichever way she goes. And maybe it's a great time to say, that's me done. But, Croke Park, of course. I think you could say the only way she'd fight again is at Croke Park. I think that's, not definitive.
Actually, before she mentioned to you that she wanted to fight in Vegas, right? And obviously with Croke Park being so far away, do you look at maybe a potential January type time, Katie Taylor in Vegas, and then May, June, July?
Maybe. I think, to be honest, Vegas is a nice story and everything, but she's done Madison Square Garden a couple of times. That was another huge fight. I think if I turn around to her and I said, we can make Croke Park happen, I don't think she fights this year anyway. So Croke Park's April, May, June, July, that kind of time frame. So I don't know. I don't want to put any words in her mouth. She's the one that will make the decisions, and we'll support her whatever she chooses to do.
Obviously, the night after we had Shiraz, Berlanga, Shakur, Zapeda. There's been a lot of controversy about the Shiraz hand wraps. What have you made of that?
I mean, firstly, it's not even my fighter, so I don't have to. I'll just give you the opinion. The New York State Athletic Commission are unquestionably the strictest commission you could ever work with. I mean, when you're talking, the one thing I'm really pleased of is that Edgar hasn't bought into the bullshit, and he's not posting it. Do you know what I mean? Or I haven't seen him post it. Do you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. The hand wraps, there's an inspector does not leave your site when the hands are wrapped, there's a member of the other team there, right? The gauze is on, the tape's on. What do you think? All of a sudden, what they disappear to the toilets and play with the hand wraps, and it's like, oh, he didn't take his hand wraps off after the fight. Of course, he took his hand wraps off after the fight, and they would have gone to the local commission. But when you knock someone out and then there's a camera in your face, yes, you've still got the wraps on. They'll be cut off. They'll be given to the commission. They'll be inspected. It's absolutely ridiculous. Give Hamza Shiraz his props, yeah, and give Edgar the respect of, he went out on his shield, kept getting up, nice time. It's boxing. It happens. Stop pointing to hand wraps and all that rubbish when you're working with a commission like the New York State Athletic Commission. They are so precise on everything they do. You get to see everything. It's just ridiculous. But it was a great win by Hamza.
You said in the aftermath of that win that you wouldn't look to work with Edgar again. You were happy about your time together, but you've moved on from that. Does that change at all now? You've got Pablo.
So I didn't say I wouldn't work with him again. I would work with him again. I mean, I don't. I think that things change, right? And people change, situations change, and when you go from your heart being so into something to it being questioned, or maybe they're not the individual I thought they were, then it just takes a little bit of love out of it. Business is business, and you can always carry on, but I still prefer to be in that kind of relationship where it's like, we're a team. And obviously when you get, I know it's like examples of AJ and Katie Taylor and like all this kind of stuff, like that for me is the most enjoyable situation, where the trust between the two individuals or the teams is second to none, But again, I go into the problem of managers and agents wanting their commission and wanting to almost like just nuke fighters into them thinking that this person is just, he's God. Like he really knows his boxing, this guy. He's got my back. Oh, where the reality is we've got your back as well. I'm not saying managers don't, but like, we're here for you. We know what we're doing. We know the fights to take. We know the route to take you on. And when we work together as a team, we're unbreakable. But you have to manage it. You have to understand as well that sometimes a manager likes to put a little bit of a wedge into the personal relationship between a fighter and the promoter, because it makes his job and his position a little bit of a wasted spot. Do you know what I mean? They want you to rely 100% on the manager and the advisor. So, I feel like Edgar, for me, Edgar just lost the plot a little bit. I just think he started to believe his own hype and he just got a little bit carried away. He'll be back. He's a great fighter. But it was a devastating defeat.
Shakur, obviously, with probably one of the most impressive wins of his career against William Zapeda. Just how impressive was that?
Unbelievable. I mean, if you know boxing, like when Zapeda is a brilliant fighter, right? How many lightweights in the world would beat Zapeda? Andy Cruz, Shakur Stevenson, Gervonta Davis. I don't know. I mean, I'm not
John
like
Davis?
Who?
Keyshawn?
You get 140.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, if you do research, you'll find that out. But so he, and what he did to him, and it wasn't just like, it was the way that he sat on the ropes for this lunatic Mexican who was throwing power shot after power shot, and the comfort that you just sit in the shell in the pocket and pot shot back, and it was unbelievable to watch. And I think you're only just touching the surface. He's 28 years old. He's a 3-division world champion. So yeah, I thought it was very, very impressive.
He said on Ariel Helwani that he was open to working with you again. Have those discussions started yet? What kind of happens there?
Really, I mean, I get on great with Shakur. I like him a lot as a person, and I'm in awe of him as a fighter. He's got a great team in James Prince and Josh Dubin. Obviously, I've told those guys we're ready. You know, we're ready to start moving forward with plans, and basically they're pretty honest with me. And they said what we'll do is we're going to see what's out there for Shakur, and if the route with you is anywhere near the same level, I think I've got a great shot because of our relationship. But it really comes down to, Carl, this is what I want. I know it's not always the way that it plays out. I want you to go, he's my guy. Right? And again, it's difficult with outside influence to just trust in the heart and the kind of like the general feeling of it and say, yeah, no, this is, and I just think us and Shakur is the perfect matchup. The perfect, we're the only one really in America with a broadcast deal. Us and Golden Boy, we're actually the only ones with a solid broadcast deal with dates. So you've got the Riyadh season, which is obviously a massive opportunity for Shakur, and he is, we're extremely well placed with our relationship with His Excellency. But you can't just rely on that. You need the backstop of someone with a significant budget and TV dates, which is us. And we've got a great relationship. Two, I feel like I'm the best promoter in the world. So for me, I would be wanting Shakur to say, no. Of course, look at the options, but this is where I want to be. And when you do that, you're good for life with me. You know what I'm saying? So I want it to come from him. I always want the fighter to go. It's a bit like, Bam, or particularly Diego Pacheco this weekend. All right? I've worked with Diego Pacheco from his professional debut. I know that Diego is like, Eddie is my guy. We are doing this together. Dalton Smith the same. All right? He says, from the debut to the top, you and me. Like, when they say that, I can't tell you what it does to me. I mean, maybe some of them are bluffing me or lying. But I'll tell you what, once you say that to me and you just tickle my little heartstrings, fuck me, I'm all in. And that's why now, when Dalton beats Matias, it's just like, it's, So hopefully the relationship continues with Shakur.
I'll put a couple of things to you. Do you foresee a situation where Shakur would go to TKO?
I don't think that TKO would be willing to pay the purses that Shakur wants and needs, if I'm honest.
Eddie, come on. But
no.
Turkey Al Sheikh's a part of it, so surely there's...
No, via Turkey Al Sheikh funding it, no problem. But that you've got to understand the way that these people work. They're not... Look, I don't think... Shakur Stevenson is making, I don't know, double what UFC's biggest stars making. So Dana's just got to be a little bit difficult in the space where he comes into a sport and he's paying the talent double, quadruple what he's paying the UFC talent who might be doing bigger crowds or might be doing bigger numbers on TV. Does that make sense? Because then all of a sudden the UFC talent's going, hang on a minute, why are you willing to pay these fighters so much money, the boxers, but you won't pay us this much money? Yeah, I'm filling arenas. Yeah, I'm selling pay-per-views. You understand? Boxing's a distorted market like that. The money that the fighters are receiving, good luck to them, is huge. Much, much bigger than the UFC talent. And I think you just got to be careful because sooner or later the UFC talent's going to turn around and go, this just doesn't make sense. You're paying a boxing guy 5 times what I'm getting. And I'm a massive star. This is not Shakur. Like, this is across all main events. And I just think TKO are going to be looking to come into that level, build talent, develop the league, get everybody fighting everybody. But mate, listen, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a grander plan. And, it's been a while now since the announcement. What's it been, 4 months?
Yeah, 4 or 5 months.
I mean,
What about if PBC come along and say, look, we want to make the tank fight? Could you see Shakur going across the street there with Al Heyman?
I think Shakur's going to look for the best opportunities for him. For me, the Tank fight is the best fight in boxing, or one off, top 3 fights in boxing. And that's the ultimate fight for Shakur and Tank, But again, if you're offered that, maybe you go, I'll just do a deal direct with PBC. But you know that Gervonta Davis is his boy. So as far as I'm concerned, you want to be promotionally supported in that. But that's when it comes down to whether the fighter's prepared to say, no, I'll fight Gervonta, but I want Matchroom and Eddie with us when we go into this fight. Some do, some don't. But it's the ones that do that are going to be really looked after.
Well, we've seen Shakur and Conor Benn going at it a bit. Is that realistic that fight could happen?
Yeah, I mean, it's been talked about for a while. After Conor fought Eubank, Shakur messaged me and said, I'd love that fight at 147. And I know Conor's said back and forth, it's a bit like, obviously Conor had to jump up 2 divisions to fight Eubank. Shakur would do the same. But look, I think Conor would admit it would be very difficult to match Shakur in terms of skill and boxing IQ. But up at 147, Conor thinks he walks through him. Obviously, Shakur doesn't. I think it's a great fight. I think it's a massive fight. And a fight that both guys would be willing to accept. And
what do you do on that night? Do you just wear your... Like what hat do you wear that night? If it's Shakur and Conor Benn?
Depends on the situation. I've been through a lot with Conor Benn. I was joking with him on the messages yesterday because I posted something on Shakur and he was like, just had a little dig. And I was like, look, if you don't know my loyalty by now, mate, then you never will. I've had work with Conor Benn since he first walked through the ropes. And that's been some hell of a journey on so many different levels. And I've got Conor Benn's back 1,000,000%, as I've proved time and time again. And that's the commitment he has to us as well. And like I said to you, that's both ways. But if you want someone like me to have your back 100% of the time in all situations, that's what I'm giving you if you're committed to me. And that's how we work with Conor. I expect to work with Conor for the rest of his career. And in every situation, we will have his back 110%. Every time.
So I was on a nice leisurely stroll in Las Vegas last night before, with Matt from Boxing Social. We're just talking, Eddie's a wanker kind of conversation.
What a laugh that.
Yeah. And then we're talking about the fight. We're talking about Conor and Chris Eubank. Yeah. And I'm like, I wonder if it's going to happen. And I swear to God, as we're mid-conversation, Eubank comes walking towards us in Vegas. And it was like a surreal... Huh?
Hope you interviewed him.
It was a time of night that probably... No, listen, we spoke. So I'm going to tell you what. Just calm down. I can see your little arse twitching there, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
he's walking towards us, and then I've just went, that's Chris Eubank, and he looked up, and then we've started talking, and we've said, look, is the fight going to happen? And he said, the fight, this is his words, the fight is definitely going to happen, just maybe not the date that they're suggesting. So obviously, Conor's put a kind of time limit on whatever the situation is. That time limit's now ran out.
Conor hasn't. So Ring Magazine, Turki Al Sheikh has. He has made it clear to us that the only date that works for this fight, commercially for him, is September the 20th. Throughout the last 2 or 3 months, all the teams, I've been on a group chat, Boxer are on the group chat, the date is September 20th or 27th. They replied from an email, yeah, those dates should be fine, or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Then when we announce it, they go, oh, hang on a minute, that's a bit early. It's like, no, that's always the date. So I've had a call from His Excellency's team this morning that says we've said to Eubank, that is the date. And if you don't take that fight on that date, the fight doesn't work. Because there's no stadiums available. Commercially, you guys are on an absolute fortune. It's not just, so if Eubank's not prepared to take the fight on September 20th, I don't think there'll be a fight. That's not my decision. That's a decision of His Excellency, who's paying the bills. Right? Now, Eubank is in Vegas. He's swanning around. He's playing poker. He's having a lovely time. He probably just can't be bothered to go back into camp right now. But I'm not so sure whether he'll even fight again. Because if he loses the Conor, that fight was taxing for him. He was in hospital for 3 or 4 days. Does he want to? And if these two fight again, it'll be the 13th round. Conor Benn will set about him and he will take him straight back into the trenches in round 1. So, do you want it or not? That's all we need to know. And it's not going to be I'll do it, but it'll be November, December. Because His Excellency will turn around and go, no, it ain't going to be November, December. Because we've got this massive stadium for September 20th. You want all this money. This is how I'm going to pay you. And if you don't, we'll get out of the way. Hamza Shiraz is fighting Canelo Alvarez. Conor Benn's going to fight someone else in a massive fight. And good luck. Because that's what probably His Excellency will do. I don't know that for sure. But I'm pretty sure that if Eubank doesn't take the fight on September 20th, there will be no fight.
In your opinion, does the fight happen?
No. I just got a feeling he just don't want it. Like, Cole, if you knew the money that he was making, right?
But he loves a pound note as much as you love a pound note, so that doesn't really make sense to me.
What does that tell you then? He don't want it. He don't want to go back to those places. He knows what type of fight it's going to be. It's going to be a dirty war. And I think he's just in Vegas swanning around going, do you know what? I've made an absolute fortune. I'm quite happy, thank you. So that shows you his desire as a fighter. He'll probably come up with something, some medical note, whatever. There's no medical note. He's fine. He could start camp tomorrow. But he don't want to. That's all. He just wants to chill. No problem. I don't blame him for that. But he just don't want it anymore. Like we want it.
If not Eubank, who is it then for Conor Benn next up?
But Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez, Ryan Garcia, Barios if he wins this weekend. But
if Pacquiao wins, do you make that fight?
Maybe. But how many people call out Conor Benn? I mean, the whole 140 or 147 or 154 pound division. Don't worry about Conor Benn, but we want the rematch. We don't just want the rematch for the money. We want the rematch because we want to win. The whole reason we signed up to the fight to jump up 2 divisions was to get 2 bites of the cherry. And we want our second bite. But if the other geezer don't want it, what can you do?
Quite a bit to run through here, so we'll go quick because I've taken enough of your time already. I spoke to Ben Shalom briefly, and he said that he has, basically, he said groundbreaking news on a broadcaster coming. Do you have any ideas of who that would be? Because he was very quiet on who that was.
I think so, yeah. I think I do, yeah.
So who do you think it's going to be?
Break his groundbreaking news. But
I'm asking your opinion on it. You have to give us a little bit of who you think.
My opinion of it is that it's the same as there's been other promoters that have done the thing he's doing with the same platform. Who
is the platform?
But it's not. No, but that's out of order. It's not.
Eddie Hearn said it's out of order for him to have an opinion on Ben Shalom's new broadcaster. This is a groundbreaking story in itself.
An opinion,
yeah.
Sort of story, no money, but it's all right. Other guys, I can give you 3 promoters that have done the same thing, smaller hall promoters, and it's good. It's good. It's not like I'm not going to sit here and start slagging it off and tell you what it is. It's only what I've heard. But if it is what I've heard, then it's just it is what it is. He's got to do something quickly because all of his talent, who's signed to Sky Sports, is probably sitting there going, "What is going on with my career?"
So you suggesting it's not going to be Sky Sports then?
What I've heard, no, but I might be wrong.
At Usyk-Dubois, we've seen Dubois screaming in Usyk's face. What did you make of that?
Just a stone cold Alexander Usyk. Like, you're not going to. I mean, probably the king of fuckery is Tyson Fury in terms of that pre-fight build-up. He's the best to do it. And he couldn't rattle Usyk once. So Dubois screaming in his face really ain't going to rattle Usyk, especially when he's already beaten him. But I do think this will be a sterner test for Alexander Usyk this time round and a different Daniel Dubois that we saw in Poland. And I think it's a very dangerous fight for Usyk. But I just feel, how do you pick against him? You know?
Do you think Usyk knocks Daniel Dubois out, in your opinion?
Between rounds 9 and 12, I think Alexander Usyk stops him.
Do you go back to the drawing board then with AJ and say that you make that Usyk fight again, or is it full force on Tyson?
look, obviously we had our meetings with His Excellency last week. He's got a plan for AJ, so we'll see what he comes up with.
And that plan, does that involve Tyson Fury next?
Not next, but it involves Tyson Fury, yeah.
So next, are we looking at someone like Wilder, the winner of Miller and Anderson? Jake Paul?
Maybe.
Did you have a conversation about Jake Paul and AJ with Turkey?
Yeah.
What was discussed?
He said, I think Jake Paul against Anthony Joshua is a huge fight. I said, I agree with you. And if he's mad enough to do it, I think we'll do it. But I don't...
When would that fall? And is it a stadium fight? Is it UK, US?
Imagine that fight. I mean, look, it's not a fight we're calling for. It's not a fight anticipated. But if you said to me, are you okay with AJ going in the ring against Jake Paul? What do you think I'd say? I mean, if Jake Paul's mad enough to do it, and it would have to involve a lot of money for Jake Paul, why not?
Hitchens and Haney came face to face, and Haney said that Hitchens turned down that fight next. Is that true?
Nathan Heene.
Devin Haney.
Is that Nathan Heane's brother?
Mate, banter's so bad.
Devin Haney.
Yes, mate, I do.
Sorry. So I don't believe Hitchens turned that fight down. All I know is that Haney was asked to fight Teofimo Lopez. Haney said yes. Teofimo Lopez said no. That's what I've been told. Then Haney was asked to fight Brian Norman. And he said yes, which I thought was quite surprising because I think it's a very dangerous fight. But basically, Devin just wants to spondoolies ASAP.
Bit like yourself.
He wants money and he wants it now.
I've got two more before I let you go. Pacquiao returns this weekend against Barios. If he wins, there's talk of Pacquiao Mayweather 2 for a world title. What do you make of that?
I mean, one, I don't see Pacquiao winning against Barios, even though Barios looked poor last time out. And two, Pacquiao again. I mean, look, to be fair, my feeling about the fight. I'm never going to discredit Manny Pacquiao. He's a legend. I don't think he should be ranked by the governing body. I don't think he should be fighting for a world title, but he is. But if he beats Barios, who is in my opinion, average world champion, good luck to him. And he should defend his title. Doing it against Mayweather, who's, 50? How old's Pacquiao? Don't even know.
I think Pacquiao's 46 and Mayweather's 48, maybe.
Is it? I mean, look, nothing would surprise me. We're sitting here talking about AJ against Jake Paul. So what can I say?
If that was to happen, would that be commercially the biggest fight ever? Pacquiao Mayweather 2 for a world title?
I think so, no.
Does it do more buys than AJ Jake Paul?
No, nowhere near. You got to understand that Pacquiao audience, Carl. That fight's nowhere near as Floyd's been fighting on numerous pay-per-views over the last couple of years.
But it's not for a world title and it's not against Manny Pacquiao.
Look at Pacquiao fighting this week. Where's the buzz? Where's the pay-per-view numbers?
What do you think this does this weekend? Pay-per-view wise?
100,000?
Really? Well, okay, I tend to disagree with you there, but we don't really have time for that. Last one.
I mean, let's be honest, who's got more credibility for that kind of thing? You or me? Next question.
Yeah. Nicholson on Ariel Helwani said an interesting thing on Ellie, Scottney and Sky Nicholson. He basically kind of said that it was turned down before that fight. Is that true?
No, not at all. I mean, I sat in my office with Ellie Scottney and Shane McGuigan and they said we'd be interested to fight Sky Nicholson at featherweight. And I can't remember the exact conversations, but I said, I like that fight. I mean, I think Sky Nicholson even came out and said, I like the fight. So there's nothing really between. I mean, Ellie's done amazing. She was great last week. But Sky's obviously coming down to 122. I saw Nikita's comments and he said that she weighed 124.2. She didn't. She weighed 123.9. And the fight was made at 124 pounds. They're both great fighters. Sky was a world champion. Ellie's currently unified world champion. I think Sky would take any big fight at 122 or 126. I don't know about 16. He said he'd want the fight in a 16-foot ring. I presume we just make the fight in a normal ring that everybody boxes in. But No, I think, you said Ellie calls the shots right now. Yeah, she's champ, but, Sky's got a big profile as well. Great fighter. 2 great fighters. I think it's a great fight. It was a great fight before. It's a great fight now, but I don't think either of them really need each other. Just if it makes sense, it makes sense. And obviously there is that relationship now with MVP and us that is a little like, at least we're talking. And there's a lot of good fights between the female fighters that MVP have and we have. Obviously, Beatrice Ferreira, we just did a fight with MVP. You got Chantel Cameron's going to need a fight. What about Sandy Ryan? I think that's a tremendous fight between those two. Ellie and Sky, or I don't know, Ramler and Sky, or I don't know. There's like Tia is coming up. She'll fight anybody on their roster. So yeah, I think they're doing great, and we'll see. Hopefully, we can continue to work together.
Well, Ed, I appreciate your time. Look forward to melting your head this weekend after Usyk-Dubois and after your show to get a conversation. And yeah, we'll speak soon.
Oh, wait, mate. Yeah, look forward to propping up your channel as always. Cheers, mate.
Thanks.
Live only on DAZN, he silenced Britain's best. Usyk, the Brit breaker, but now the dynamite is ready to explode. One night, one shot at Undisputed. Usyk versus Dubois 2, July 19th. Right now at DAZN.com/boxing.